Ayanokoji from Classroom of the Elite is a very elusive and stealthy character. A major advantage that he has is his lack of suffering from ego, like other intelligent characters such as Light Yagami from Death Note or Lelouch Lamperouge from Code Geass. This allows him to keep his head calm and his hands clean, despite being involved in some shady schemes. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise your involvement. The first tactic that he applies is using scapegoats to find a fall guy, someone within his environment, it could be inside his classroom or outside it, that will take the blame for his conniving plans, negative outcomes, or in case that his strategies fail. Since he is constantly playing the man behind the throne, he uses Suzune as a Meatshield of sorts, someone that will protect him from taking the hit. The fall guy could be someone disliked around the place, someone who rubs people the wrong way, maybe an outsider to the group somehow. An easy mark to deflect from your mischievous deeds. The fall guy could be someone with a bad reputation, or a tainted one. People rarely change their opinions about others, and that can be used to your advantage. Once something happens, people's minds will automatically be set on someone as a potential culprit. Ayanokoji might take advantage of cognitive biases and stereotypes, how people are perceived, to choose them as potential scapegoats. Throughout history, the scapegoats have often been the favorites of a king or important figure. Because they are favorites, they believe they are above it all. They take advantage of the fact that the leader likes them, and they start to push boundaries and rub people the wrong way. So they make easy targets. No one helps them or even suspects that they have been set up, and even if they did, they will pretend not to know, because they made too many enemies. Watch my video on Courtier-type, the favorite, for more info on this archetype. Next tactic is quite simple, and it will be short, which is 2. Creating a solid reputation for being predictable, so they can think they can outsmart you, rational, so they can think that they can reason with you, and good, so they can believe that you are friendly and on their side. It takes time, but it can be done. Consistency is key. After a while, you will blend in with the moral background. It won't be noticed for your cunning and calculating nature. Watch my first video ever on the channel if you want to learn more. Play it on 2x because it's a little bit boring. Tactic number 3. Encourage people to take the lead. By encouraging others to take the lead on a project or initiative, Ayanokoji can distance himself from the outcome and avoid being held responsible for any negative consequences. This is how instigators work. They infiltrate a group or organization, they plant seed in people's heads on what might be done, and instead of being the person to implement the ideas, they leave others to take charge of the operation. So they can use them as the fall guy later, or arrest them for that specific crime. They usually make sure that the process can be documented to keep evidence. Ayanokoji lured members of Team C to push them to a crime near the cameras as a way to keep his colleague protected from being expelled. An instigator might dress and style his hair or her hair like a hippie, enjoying a peaceful activism event where a police unit is keeping watch of the protest. She might instigate a fight there so that the cops have to interfere and leave before the chaos starts. This type of professional is called agent provocateur or agent provocateur. This brings me to my next point. 4. Documentation. Ayanokoji makes sure that his actions are not documented and can be used against him, and other people's actions are. If he sends an email, it's from another person's phone, email address, or anonymously. Some people will lure you to traps by talking around something you have done, so you bring it up into the conversation and they can use it against you. If you're not adept with technology, it's better to keep it face to face instead of written communication or documented information in general. A person I know used to badmouth the boss when texting, and he would intentionally do so to get you to say something bad so he can exploit it later. Get a promotion instead of the person he's talking to. Ayanokoji might document all of his actions and decisions in order to provide evidence that he was not involved in any wrongdoing. He could set up a schedule or checklist and pretend to follow it. Make sure that he has an alibi, like keeping receipts for a bus fare to showcase where he was. Things of that nature. Crafty criminals will go out of their way to avoid detection through creating a cover-up story or documenting it for appearances. No rest for the wicked, as they say. Tactic number 5. Boost someone else's threat level. One way to keep your hands clean is to lower your threat level. You can do this through submissive body language at times, confessing some made-up insecurity, or creating meat shields. A meat shield is basically someone who has a higher threat level than you. A fall guy might not have a high threat level, but could be disliked, but the meat shield has to be that way. In strategy, it is wise to neutralize the biggest threat first, unless it's too big. Then you have to take it one bite at a time. The idea is, if you make someone's threat level higher than you, it will work as a deflection from you. The contrast principle will convince people that you are not as problematic and forget about you for a while. That is until you find a better strategy or find another meat shield or get rid of that person, the competition, or prove that you are no threat at all. Frank Underwood from House of Cards used to say, when you are fresh meat, kill and throw them something fresher. You can boost someone's threat level by intentionally losing to them when it comes to strategy games, for example, so people will perceive you as dumber than them. Flattering people in public is another way. Sometimes even fanboying could lead to some results. Remember that these tactics are situational, so while they might not work at a specific time or in a specific manner, they will be fantastic tools in other times. This is why it's key to learn about these things. It feeds your pattern recognition. These tactics are intertwined as well, so you might mistake one for another because they are different facets of the same strategy. 6. Creating a system of deniability. Having a clear chain of command and clearly defined goals and responsibilities can help to ensure that there is someone else who can be held accountable if something goes wrong. If you seek to do no harm, make sure that you know your role in environment, organization, school, to protect yourself from being framed for something. Stick to your job title. Don't do things that aren't a part of your job. Do your job well, but don't overextend and do what someone else should do. If you get caught doing someone else's work, they might lose their job, but so will you. Them for negligence and you for insubordination. If you're ever in a management position, assign roles to isolate the damage. I will make a part 2 for this video because it's interesting. And if you like this video, leave a like, support me through getting any of my books, and leaving reviews. You can also watch my latest video as well. I'll see you there.